The end of an empire. If blueberry farming can be an empire. Well, it's time to drag this old girl out of her resting place one last time. I'm surprised this Fresnel lens here hasn't started a fire yet. Definitely need to get this out of the way. Well, everybody, welcome back. We got a big job to do this week. Come on, Bunton. Scrap prices are up. And this old girl's gonna have to go back to China, I guess. Oh, that's good. The rims are probably sellable, though. I figured I'd do a video after I drug it out, kind of explain how the machine worked. And some of the modifications that we made to it over the years from the original builder. Just take a little walk down memory lane before she's gone forever. There's a lot of memories in this old girl. And a lot of a pain in the ass. That's for sure. Well, in order to get this thing to freewheel, we have to take these two bolts out of this gear here on the shaft. That frees up this wheel to free spin. And then there's two more bolts in this one that we have to take out right up there. And then that freewheels that side. Might not matter much as long as the somebody about to run over the chickens, but I think we'll take the bolts out just so it makes it easier on us. We only got to worry about these chains spinning for now. Worst case scenario, we'll just cut them off, but they might be worth keeping still. They are kind of loose, but pull on the other side of it. Well, we got that third wheel to spin around. And that should go. definitely a weird piece of equipment. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this machine. Apparently there was 3 of these built, and this is probably the only one left. I'm sure none of the other ones were operational anytime soon. And these were built by a man named Butchie Thompson, which is a local guy to this area. Did a lot of cranberry stuff, blueberry stuff, all through Central and South Jersey. He built machines for a lot of people. Well, he built 3 of these. This thing is powered by a 4-cylinder overhead valve Wisconsin. I don't know the horsepower, probably like 40 or 50 horse or something. And it's also got this giant aluminum fan here. So when this machine's running, this fan's running, pulling air across this area here. And what you would do is you would drive this machine into the blueberry rows. These things are called fish scales, so these move out of the way as the bush comes into the machine, right? And then these beaters are on off-centered cams, right? And they oscillate and spin. And we used to have chunks of rubber hanging here to keep them from actually spinning. That would like just stop them. You can see it back there. There's a right. So they would kind of shake. They would spin though as the bush would come through it. They have to spin, and they would shake. And then that would shake all the berries and the leaves and sticks and everything off of the bush. And the fan over here would push massive amount of air across into this canvas area. And then this canvas right here will fold down. If we can get it off the hook. Okay. And we probably got our string on there for a reason. So we'll put it on the string, and that's the angle that we would get to blow all the sticks and leaves and everything out of it. And then the green berries, the blueberries, all the ripe ones, they would fall down onto this conveyor belt, which is probably, might not be that bad. It probably would come back. They'd fall down onto the conveyor belt, and then the person on the back here would control the valves for the hydraulics to run the belt, and they would convey the berries down the belt and into a lug on this tray. And then after they filled up there, you would stack them right there on that spot and put a new lug in there, and you guys would just go on down the row, you know, snail's pace, shaking the bushes. So that's how these harvesters work, single row machines. It's pretty much the same deal now with a modern machine. They're still kind of using the same idea with the beaters and stuff like that. But, you know, they have 4-wheel hydraulic. They can adjust their height of the whole machine. They have, you know, 2 sets of fish scales. This machine, I don't know how efficient it really was. There's no way to really test it. But if you have a dual conveyor belt machine with dual sets of fish scales, you know, you catch a lot more of the fruit that's falling off the plant. This kind of just, you know, when this machine was built, a lot of the bushes were not very big. So, you know, if you got the machine in here really good, the wind would do a pretty good job of blowing the stuff over. You know, it's definitely less efficient, it's definitely less efficient than a 2-belt machine, you know. But unfortunately, this old girl is timed out. Scrap prices are up, and it's time to move on. When my grandfather bought this machine, we were doing a lot of leased properties. He had a lot of fields that were leased. Oh, I forgot about this. I've done so much stuff to this machine over the years. Like this is for draining the oil on the engine, the Wisconsin. All right. I've got something in here. Oh, here it is. I don't know if you guys can see it. See that piece of pipe right there under the drain plug? Yeah, well, that runs down and is welded to this piece of 2-inch pipe here. That slopes down this way. And then we could put our catch can here to catch the oil instead of trying to drain it all the way in there and letting it drain down on the fan shroud, right? So there's all kinds of little things I did to this thing over the years. But we're definitely going to harvest some parts off it. The hydraulic pump is still good. We're going to get that. The engine is sold. I already had, that's a newer starter on there too, actually. The engine does work. So that's sold already. I got that sold. There's some other things we can salvage off of here, but most of this is going to go as scrap for the bulk of this framework of this machine. So I wanted to get some videos of it before I tear it to bits, right? Last memories. All the heartache and pain dealing with this thing. I had to build this tensioner here for it, for this drive belt. This is the drive system. It runs on, I guess they're 2 centrifugal clutches, and you can adjust. It's like 2 variable speeds. It's really ingenious how the guy built this machine. He was a very intelligent man, that's for sure. Yeah, look, we got a pull plug in the back of that pipe for draining the oil. It's got a Chrysler alternator on it. That probably still works. Old school Chrysler. But anyway, I had to make this tensioner for the drive belt. So I built it out of, you know, whatever. A couple pieces of flat stock, a idler pulley off a lawnmower, and just a spring to help give some more tension on this belt, because it needs to stay loose to be able to do all the gears, but it would fall off a lot, and it was a pain. It kept falling off. I also put this on there too. This is like a platform. There used to be a chair on here. Look, it's a torsion bar from a Nissan pickup truck that we turned into a lowrider. Right? The bed floor out of a truck. This might even have been out of my lowrider truck. It looks like it is. The bed floor out of my lowrider. And there was a chair on here. You would sit on here, and you know, 1 foot over here and 1 foot over there, and you'd be able to pull the lug out and put it up on here without having to walk behind the machine, because originally it was just this plate with a hitch here, and then there was a four-wheel trailer that you pulled behind you, and basically you walked behind the machine and moved the lugs to the four-wheel trailer. So like I said, the reason we bought this was because we were doing a lot more lease fields, and this was a machine that you could run with 2 guys. Most of the machines of this era took a lot of people. It was like 4 people on the deck, 1 person up top, so 5 and 2 on the back. So 7 people to run a normal 2-belt machine in most cases when they were vibrator style machines. Well, there was older style machines that were hand vibrators. You basically had 2 decks on either side and 4 guys with hand vibrators that maybe some of you have seen in my other videos that would just vibrate the bushes as you guys were driving down. So this machine pretty much cut it down to 2 people, which was nice. You had a driver and then an operator back here to catch the berries and whatever else went wrong, right? Some people are going to be like, some people are going to be like, why don't you keep it? You have blueberries you need to pick. Well, we pretty much just hand pick and hand vibrate now because we're only on the family farm here. We don't really have other fields all over the place that we have to go pick. So this thing's pretty much obsolete and has been obsolete. It's probably been sitting in here for over 20 years now, not being used. I'm not saying it wouldn't come back to life with some belts and some whistles, but we don't need it. We pick what we can pick by hand, and that's the best way to make money doing it, because the bulk berries don't really pay that well. So you're better off letting them fall on the ground, truthfully, the ones you can't get to, in our situation with the amount of fields that we have, So she's a goner. And some people might say, oh, just sell it. But nobody's going to buy this thing. This is not a normal machine that people purchase. And if you did, you would purchase one that had some parts back up and not, MacGyver on speed dial. Right? Anyway. I know. Everybody's going to make the comment. Look at the little gauge cluster he stole off something. I don't know. Maybe he made it. Could have made it. Probably off some other machine, right? Whatever the engine came out of. I mean, the engine was probably the engines were probably new when he built them. Like I said, he built 3 of these. Got a little jack shaft on the back of the oil pump. We're definitely going to keep the hydros. I don't know if these lines are worth keeping, but we'll probably keep them for now. We're definitely going to keep the motors, the drive motors. I would like to... I don't know. I think that's about it that I want to keep off of here. I don't really need nothing else that I know of. It's all just basically box tubing. But anyway, the guy that built this machine was a genius. I mean, he would just like ramble numbers off his head. Cut me a piece of C channel, 26 3/4 inches. I need 2 of them. I need this. I need, you know, and it was all off the top of his head. He never wrote nothing down. I used to hang out with a guy that worked with him a lot, and he just built it all in his head. It's crazy. Anyway, we'll get up top and see how I'll show you guys how the controls work one last time. I don't think that's much too much safe anymore, huh? All right. Oh man. You know how many hours in the sun I've spent on this thing? My whole childhood. I did put extensions. Originally, these were the drive handles. It drives like a dozer, you know, just 2 levers, forward, back. These are the gearboxes for the for each drive wheel. Runs off that V belt to the CVT shaft, right? And this controls your speed. See it? Now, full speed, slower. And you got, like, it's actually like a, it looks like he took a disc and really ingenious. The guy he really was a genius. All right. So these are your drive levers, right? Forward and back, left and right. And they're controlled off these gearboxes, which I'm probably going to keep. I should keep the gearboxes. If not, I'm sure they're worth some resale value for certain projects. These clutches, I don't know if I'm going to end up keeping them. But we also have, there is another, oh, this is a 90 degree, so I definitely want to keep that. You see it runs off the V-belt off the front of the engine, and then turns it into a 90 degree to run the beaters. And the beaters also have a CVT type clutch on there, all right, for the speed. And the speed was adjusted by this thing here. You just spun it around and it pulled on that chain. This, like I said, this thing is archaic. All right, but look at the frame structure he built for it. Flat stock, box tubing. Steel pipes run down the top frame to the hydraulic tank, and to the power back here for the belt. And this is where you would sit. This is where the seat was to drive it. We got a gas tank out of a Toyota Celica or a Chevy Nova, box Nova, not a good Nova. Well, it was still a good Nova. They're Toyota Corollas. You can't beat the damn things, that's for damn sure. This is what it looked like up on top, driving down the Blueberry rows. That muffler's off like a Caprice. I think the silencer on the muffler and the tailpipe's off of a Caprice or an Oldsmobile station wagon. Yeah, that inner belt's looking pretty crusty. Not that it matters, but imagine how much those belts are. They're probably $200 belts a piece on that thing down there. They're huge and long. Yeesh. I added this stuff onto it myself, you know, just to hold the lugs up here, because there was nowhere to really hold empty lugs. So I would stack them here, and then you could step up here and get your empty lug and put it in there. Yeah, but before this was here, we used to do the really crazy farm kid stuff. We'd put our foot in the tire and just ride the tire up, and then stand up here where the wind was blowing on us, so we got some air from that big old giant fan. Well, everybody, put it in the comments, how much weight do you think's here? That we'll definitely end up finding out. I know I've got some home videos somewhere of this thing actually running out in the field. If that's anything somebody would be interested in seeing, put it in the comments section. Let me know. If I get enough of you guys, I'll try to dig old VHS tapes out of this thing doing work. All right. This is all stuff I put on here to keep the berries from blowing off the front. Sheet metal. It used to be all plywood. I was like, man, I just started putting metal on it. This light was down there because a lot of times we would work into the night. We never really worked all night, not with this machine, but we definitely worked crazy hours. You can't really stop. You just keep going until the dew drops. You know, this is where the battery sat. Took the 12-volt battery for the engine. But we're definitely going to keep a few parts. That 90-degree box. So the hydraulic pumps and drive motor will come off of here. I'll keep that. The rest of this stuff is gonna go. Old fiberglass fish scales. Man, I think this is, here's another one of my fixes. This number 2 or number 3 would come over here and get jammed. And it would get jammed up on the metal here, and it would stay out, which then it wouldn't come back and catch the berries that fell off the bush, so you'd have a big hole here. So I was constantly having to run around the machine, old man yelling, go reach in there, this thing's spinning, the whole thing, you know, not vibrating, but fan definitely on. Get the fish scale unstuck. There's bushes in here. All right, yeah. So I put that plate there to keep number 2 from going all the way up and getting stuck every time. So it just got jammed into it. And this thing was always a fiasco, man. I don't miss it one bit, I know that. But there is a lot of memories in this thing. Working on it every year, dragging it out, getting it painted, blah, blah. Fixing the canvas, putting new wood on it. Change the oils. I guess we'll see you in that blueberry field in the sky. So you can torture me for eternity. Alright, start cutting. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe. We're definitely going to get a couple videos of this old girl getting cut up. How are we getting that motor off of there? I don't see a tree and a pulley. I don't know. Well, that's a mess for another day.